Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for my September wrap up. I didn't get round to filming this until today. I'll be uploading this straight after I filmed it because unfortunately my daughter's not been very well. She's caught some vomity bug and we have had literally 15 minutes sleep and she didn't go to preschool today. Thankfully my parents are around, so they're helping me out this afternoon and I'm filming my video, but I'm going to make it a quick one because obviously I want to be with her. So I'm going to wrap up what I've read. I'm not going to go through every book that I've read, as I always say, because I do a weekly wrap up where I review all the books that I read. I review every book that I read. So I'm going to tell you how many books I read, how many 5 stars, 4 stars, etc. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the 5-star books that I read this month in a little bit more detail, because I think they're the ones that, you know, I would recommend to friends. So this month I was talking to Sam from Cold Tea and Crumbs, who is my BookTube bestie, and I genuinely feel, I don't know why, but I just feel embarrassed or ashamed or something to admit how many books I read, because I read a lot of books and every time I put my videos up I get a lot of like, wow, you read so much, and I know and often that feels like it's just people being really positive, but sometimes it feels like people are sort of criticising for it and I feel bad, but there you go. I don't do an awful lot else with my life. I love reading, and so Sam has told me that I shouldn't feel ashamed, and so I'm not. So I read 29 books this month. I read 9 graphic novels and I read 2 comics. And this month was different for me because my daughter started preschool, which has freed up a lot more time for me during the day to read, or consequently in some instances during the day to do all of my chores and my housework and my shopping, and then now more time at other parts of the day where I would have been doing that to read. And I've been at home a lot more in the evenings. I haven't been out as much this month, and so I've read a lot. I've also been reading a lot more contemporary and definitely lots more adult romance, and I do find they're books that I can easily read, you know, one in 4 hours, and I might read for 5 or 6 hours sometimes a day depending on the day. So it's been a really good reading month. I read 8 5-star books this month, 16 4-star books, 14 3-star books and 2 2-star books, unfortunately. So I'm just going to tell you about the 5-star books because they're the books that I would recommend to people. I reread the first 2 volumes of Chew. Unfortunately they have gone back to the library, but I read the first 2 volumes or reread the first 2 volumes of Chew, the graphic novel, and I gave these both 5 stars. They were brilliant, and I'm continuing. I've got the rest, I think I've got volumes 3 to 7 now from the library, so I will be binge reading those at some point, and I can't wait. It's such a great fun series. If you haven't read it before, let me show you. I've got this is volume 7, so just to show you the artwork and give you an idea of what the artwork is like. And it's just a really good story. We're following Tony Chew. He's a chibopath, which means that he can eat things, and when he eats them he can tell their origins, and this also includes anything he eats. So if he eats like a finger of somebody or some bit of flesh or a toenail, he can see visions of what might have happened to them in the past, and it can help him solve cases. He works for a specialist organisation, and yeah, it's just really fun and very different from a lot of the graphic novels that are out there, so I really enjoyed that this month. Another book which has gone back, but I do have loads of her other ones to show you, is I started reading Jill Shalvis' Lucky Harbour series. It's a really brilliant adult romance series. It's just lovely. It's set in Lucky Harbour, which is a small town, a small sort of harbour town, and we follow in sort of 3 book arcs. So every 3 books we sort of follow 3 women. Well, so far it's been women. I don't know what it's going to be like further on, but so the first 3 books were about 3 sisters, and they took over a B&B in Lucky Harbour, and it's each book takes one of the sisters and their romance with someone, and then the next 3 books follow 3 friends, and each book follows one of them and their sort of romantic endeavours, and they're just really easy, lovely reads, and they always leave me with a smile on my face. So I love these, and I gave the first one 5. I also read this book this month, which was A Pound of Flesh by Sophie Jackson. This has got mixed reviews from people that I watch on BookTube, but I absolutely loved this. It was, I don't know if it's an adult erotic romance or whether it's new adult. I think maybe it's adult, but it was just really good. We follow a young man who is in prison. We follow a girl who is his tutor in English while he's in prison. We follow their stories, their lives, what happens when they meet, and I just really loved this. So I gave this one 5 stars this month and very enjoyed it. I read a YA book called Until Friday Night, which I also borrowed from the library. This was a story about a girl who had witnessed something in her life and she'd stopped speaking voluntarily. She moves to live with her aunt and uncle and her cousin, who is the same age as her. They're sort of high school, I think seniors, and it's about what happens when she starts this school, dealing with grief, and she meets a boy, and it's about how they help each other through certain things that are going on in their lives. And I really enjoyed it. It might, you know, a lot of things I think are subjective, because what might be a 5-star at one point might be a 4-star at another, because it depends if it just is the right time to read it. And I think that's very much why you shouldn't push yourself to read things at the wrong time if you're not feeling it, because I think you can ruin a book that may be a really special book for you at a different time. Anyway, the last 2 books are books I've read very recently, and they are for books that I've read for YA Shot, which is an event in Uxbridge that I'm attending in a couple of weeks' time. And I'm taking part in Michelle from Fluttering Butterflies channel. She has set up a readathon where we have to sort of read and review as many of the books as we can, or as many as we want to, and there's sort of prizes and various things. And if you want to know more about that, you can look at my YA Shot TBR video, because that tells you a lot more about it. But I've read 3 books now from my list on that TBR, and I'm going to be putting up a review video really soon of those 3, so I'm not going to talk about these 2 very much, but I gave them both 5 stars. So I'm really enjoying the YA Shot books so far. The first one is Lobster by Tom Ellen and Lucy Iverson. This is about, it's set in the UK, it's very relevant, and it certainly took me back to what it was like being in school, being in the last year of 6th form, looking at universities, you know, sex. It's just very funny and I loved it, and check out that video if you want to know more about this one. And then I read A Dream of Light by Kerry Drury. This is the second Drury book I've read. The first one was okay. I'm so pleased I gave her a second chance and read this book, because it was phenomenal. I absolutely adored it, and it's really made me interested in North Korea, which is good, because there is a book that I'm being sent by a publisher soon, a non-fiction book, which I cannot wait to read. And yeah, I'm really interested in that part of the world and finding out more, and this piqued my interest in that. So check out my YA Shot first set of reviews if you want to know more about this one. So that was my September. It was a phenomenal reading month. I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to October. My TBR will be up tomorrow, so you can find out more about what I'm going to be reading in October. And yeah, it was just a really great reading month. I read some really great books and I really mixed it up, and I would definitely say, looking at the books that I've read, that my September mood was very contemporary and romance, and yeah, that type of feel. Everything that I read was sort of contemporary and romance, and graphic novels were also a big player. So September was the month of contemporary romance and graphic novels for me. Anyway, that's it for my September wrap up, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.